From one cast member's controversial remarks to another's mysterious background and a scene that ran afoul of PETA, here are the scandals that will always haunt the cast of Yellowstone. While Kelsey Asbille's acting talent has been highly acclaimed, her portrayal of a Native American woman has been called into question. The casting of non-Indigenous people to play Indigenous roles has been an issue in Hollywood for years. In Taylor Sheridan's previous project, Wind River, he made it a point to cast actors with Native American heritage, telling the New York Times, "I wasn't going to sit here and tell a story about very real issues and cast people to portray characters in that world suffering those burdens and not have some connection." Among the cast was Asbille, who says she is Taiwanese, British, and Cherokee. She told The Times she felt an intense connection to her Indigenous character, adding, "This role, more than any other, it's in my blood." But shortly after the interview was published, actor and advocate Sunny Skyhawk made an inquiry to the Cherokee tribe's tribal enrollment office, which said they had no record of Asbille and couldn't verify her Cherokee descent. Asbille has yet to address the question. Where many showrunners would prioritize keeping their actors content, it seems Taylor Sheridan isn't afraid of ruffling a few feathers. He and actor Cole Hauser, who played ranch foreman Rip Wheeler on the show, seem to be good friends these days. But the second time they met, they reportedly got into a brawl, and it wasn't the last time Sheridan and Hauser were at odds with one another. The two have both dipped their toes into non-Hollywood ventures, and while they understandably want the best for their businesses, it came as a surprise when a legal battle erupted between them over supposed trademark infringement, unfair competition, and false advertising. Sheridan's Bosque Ranch, which was the location for much of the filming of Yellowstone, filed a lawsuit against Free Rein, Hauser's coffee company, in November 2023. A few months earlier, in July, Sheridan began selling his own Bosque Ranch coffee, using a logo that consisted of the letters BR intertwined. 3 months later, Hauser's coffee came on the market with a remarkably similar logo. Sheridan's company claimed this was irreparably damaging to Bosque Ranch, according to the lawsuit. But the complaint was withdrawn just 1 month later, and the settlement agreement prevents Bosque Ranch from filing another lawsuit against Free Rein Coffee in the future.
This was never my plan.
Several years into Yellowstone, rumors of a feud between Sheridan and lead actor Kevin Costner began to circulate. One of these rumors was that Costner had requested to shoot the second half of season 5 in a single week, but his representation denied these reports, saying the actor was doing all he could for the show. There was also talk of creative differences between the two men. In May 2023, Costner announced his departure from Yellowstone, and it was decided that the show would end with season 5.
I saw the end of us.
In speaking with The Hollywood Reporter the following month, Sheridan explained, "Costner and the network were arguing about when he could be done with Yellowstone. I said, we can certainly work a schedule toward his preferred exit date, which we did." Sheridan added that he was saddened by the actor's decision to leave the series.
I supported it. 5 years of it. I'd like to go forward, but it has to be under a different set of circumstances.
Costner, who essentially took the fall for the show's demise, clapped back in a May 2024 interview with Deadline. He claimed that his original agreement with the production company kept getting changed, and when he arrived to shoot the second half of season 5, there was no script, adding, "And then things imploded." In 2021, New Zealand filmmaker Jane Campion adapted Thomas Savage's Western novel, The Power of the Dog, into a movie, starring Benedict Cumberbatch, Kirsten Dunst, and Jesse Plemons. While there were a number of differences between the novel and film, some took issue with Campion's choice to make it clear that a relationship between two characters was homosexual, whereas it's more speculative in the book.
I loved how much it explored masculinity and hidden secret love.
Sam Elliott, who plays Shay Brennan in the Yellowstone prequel 1883, made his disdain for the movie clear on a February 2022 episode of Mark Maron's podcast, WTF, asking, "What the f*** does this woman from down there know about the American West?" Elliott called The Power of the Dog a piece of with illusions of homosexuality. The rant understandably resulted in Elliott finding himself in hot water. Campion responded to Elliott's criticism in an interview with Deadline a couple months later, saying, "He's really hit the trifecta of misogyny and xenophobia and homophobia."
It's been a little bit of a bitch. He's not a cowboy, he's an actor.
Although he's since apologized for offending people, Elliott's words will live forever on the internet. While promoting his movie Wind River in 2017, Sheridan made some comments about Donald Trump, who was then serving his first presidential term.
Can we just impeach that mother right now? Like, I don't understand. It's so embarrassing.
In November 2022, Sridhar Papu interviewed Sheridan for The Atlantic and asked about his remarks. Sheridan replied, "I don't recall that. I had just wrapped a movie. I was mad about everything. 12-hour press junkets with no food or water will do that to you." Soon after, representatives of Paramount got in touch with Papu and insisted Sheridan's comments about Trump be removed from the article entirely. It could be argued, seeing as how Yellowstone has been described as a Republican-friendly show, there were concerns that conservative viewers would take offense to Sheridan's criticism of the president. In October 2018, after the first season of Yellowstone, a whistleblower reported on-set animal mistreatment to PETA, People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals, prompting calls to boycott the series. During the interview, the whistleblower explained that, as part of a scene that depicted dead cows laying in a field, it became clear that the carcasses were real.
But as the sun came up and the temperature increased, we knew right away that it was not a prop. We knew that it was real.
The whistleblower added that some of the cows' bodies had been, quote, mutilated. According to the source, the stench was evident to the crew and attracted flies.
And it carves something on your mind that you can never delete.
Yellowstone character Angela Blue Thunder, a business consultant hired to help protect the Broken Rock Reservation, was played by Korianka Kilcher.
There is no such thing as morality. There's own the land, and there is lose the land.
While Kilcher doesn't initially seem controversial, she was charged with 2 felony counts of insurance fraud in 2018. That year, while filming Dora and the Lost City of Gold, Kilcher was injured and filed for workers' comp, claiming she was unable to work. She collected more than $96,000 in benefits, but when the California Department of Insurance found out she was working on Yellowstone during the period she was supposedly injured, they filed suit against her. A judge later dismissed the charges when the insurance claims adjuster amended his decision on Kilcher's ability to work.
You know what they say about making deals with the devil.
In a statement released to Variety, Kilcher said, "Today, I am beyond grateful that my case has been dismissed. Tomorrow, my journey begins to help raise awareness and demand more transparency for workers' rights within the workers' comp system." In April 2023, the stars of Yellowstone were scheduled to appear at PaleyFest for a Q&A panel. But despite the many fans who showed up to hear all about the drama surrounding Costner's rumored exit, updates on production delays, and more about the latest spin-off, only Wendy Moniz, Josh Lucas, Dawn Olivieri, and Mo Brings Plenty showed up, with Sheridan, Kelly Riley, Gil Birmingham, and of course John Dutton himself seeming to drop out at the last minute, along with much of the rest of the scheduled panel. Fans were understandably upset. Riley issued an Instagram apology a month later, writing, "I was filming in the UK at the time and let them know in January I wouldn't be able to attend. I was sorry to hear my name was still on the list of attendees, as it is unfair to our fans." Sheridan's film Wind River is about 2 white officers who investigate the murder of an Indigenous woman. In a June 2023 interview with The Hollywood Reporter, Sheridan claimed, "Wind River actually changed a law where you can now be prosecuted if you're a U.S. citizen for committing rape on an Indian reservation, and there's now a database for missing murdered Indigenous women." Sheridan seemed to be taking responsibility for the Violence Against Women Act, which was actually signed into law by President Bill Clinton way back in 1994. Mary Catherine Nagel, an attorney for Native American rights, responded in a statement, writing, "Sheridan's attempt to take credit for the passage of VAWA is gross and completely discredits years of tireless advocacy from the Native community." They seemed like the perfect Hollywood couple for many years, but Costner and Christine Baumgardner separated in April 2023 after 18 years of marriage and filed for divorce a month later. The split soon got ugly, with Baumgardner requesting hundreds of thousands of dollars a month in child support and Costner ordering her to move out of their shared home. Fortunately, they continue to co-parent their 3 children, Caden, Hayes, and Grace. In a June 2024 interview with People, Costner shared, "Divorcing with children was something I had to think about 20 years ago when I agreed to be married again. I had been divorced once, and that was rough with kids." Some have theorized that Costner's heavy filming schedule was partly to blame for the split. At the time, he was working on his passion project, Horizon, an American saga, which he took out a mortgage to finance, explaining, "So many things were in motion. I had this money out there, 300 or 400 people working on it. There was just nothing I could do." Forrie J. Smith, who played ranch hand Lloyd Pierce on Yellowstone, hasn't been shy about expressing his anti-vax and anti-mask stance. Back in February 2022, Smith explained his absence from the Screen Actors Guild Awards, for which Yellowstone was nominated, telling his Instagram followers he couldn't attend because of the vaccination policy at the event. Smith said, "I'm not vaccinated. I will not get vaccinated. I haven't been vaccinated since I was a little kid. I've never had a flu shot. I never will. I believe they compromise your immunities." Smith again made headlines over his contentious beliefs in March 2024, as he claimed in an Instagram video that he'd been kicked off a plane because he didn't want to sit next to someone who was wearing a mask.
"They throw me off the plane because I'm drunk, because you people won't stand up and tell everybody what bullshit this is.
Back in 2013, long before Luke Grimes played Casey Dutton, he was cast as James on season 6 of True Blood, and his departure from that series was riddled with controversy. It was hard not to notice when James was recast in 2014, as Grimes was replaced by Nathan Parsons. HBO originally explained the switch by saying Grimes left because of the creative direction of the character. However, given that James's relationship with Lafayette, a gay man, seemed to be leading to romance at the beginning of season 7, it became clear that Grimes didn't want to play a gay character. Grimes' publicist Craig Schneider told BuzzFeed at the time it had nothing to do with storylines, which he had not been privy to at the time of that posting. The late Nelson Ellis, who played Lafayette, had a different opinion. During a July 2014 conversation with Vulture, Ellis recalled, "I'm over him. You quit your job because you don't want to play a gay part? You just made a statement, and it has ripple effects."